Hey everybody, Ezekiel from bestgeekblogever.com.
Hi, and I'm Andy from theothersportsguys.com.
He's never seen a Harry Potter film.
He has never played any Legend of Zelda games.
Until today. Welcome to Experience This, episode 1. So here's the deal. Episode 1 of Experience This, the web series in which we each get to experience some sort of pop culture phenomenon that we haven't previously in the past. We are rectifying some oversights. I guess oversight is probably a strong word because I never really considered myself like, what a terrible person for never playing any Zelda game. I didn't have Nintendo. I went from Atari to Nintendo 64, and my 64 days were spent playing GoldenEye.
Right.
And so I didn't care, or really know that Zelda even existed at that point. So, but now, being much older, we see that there's some things that, oh, it's interesting that we've never experienced those things before.
Right.
Being a fan of movies, being a fan of video games, we're just trying to level things out now.
Well, it seems like it'd be good to just plug some of those holes that you might think are there, and just, I don't know, I mean, the title of this is Experience This, so it's just to get an experience that you haven't had, whether it was intentional or whether it was just, like you said, you just really never thought much about it.
Yeah.
You know, for some people, Harry Potter was a great experience, and for, you know, I know for me, even growing up with a regular Nintendo and the original, you know, gold cartridge Legend of Zelda, for those of you out there that know what that means, having those and then having, you know, in the Nintendo 64 with Ocarina of Time, you know, it's just been something that's always been there. But yeah, it's nice to kind of just plug those holes and finally be able to say, oh, I know what that is.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of just, he's going to ask me some questions about Zelda, and I'm going to kind of ask him some questions about Harry Potter. We'll each talk about our experiences with these specific things. So Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone came out in 2001, directed by Chris Columbus. What did you think about the first one? I knew it.
It was tough. It was tough. It was very, very childish. I mean, if I can say if I was a kid, probably would have gotten into it. Man, Hermione was just annoying as anything, any character I think I've seen in a movie. But somehow you kind of know where she's gonna get, and you're like, no, okay, all right. I thought some of the graphics were a little hinky, I guess is the way to put it. Hinky, wonky, whatever you want to throw in there. It just didn't look. It didn't look as good as I thought it was going to. Granted, we watched it on a DVD, not a Blu-ray, so I'm not sure if that makes a difference.
I think on a Blu-ray, you'd actually see that even more so.
It just looked sort of corny to me,
yeah.
And some of the things that went on, it was a little predictable. It was a little bit like, okay, cool, oh sure, this is great. Just based on the pop culture of it and what people have said and the fact that I've been alive in the last, 8 years, I knew kind of what the houses were. So I knew Gryffindor was the good guys, Slytherin was the bad guys, and the two in the middle sort of just don't matter. When, the kids are walking into Hogwarts the first time and they're gonna, put on the
sorting hat.
The sorting hat. Wherever the first one goes, the other two are following because you're not going to split up the three main characters. His first game, when he gets to be the Seeker, you know he's going to catch the stupid snake. Even when they got in trouble, they didn't really get in trouble. Sometimes they get points taken away, but, I mean, eventually, and again, spoiler alert, Dumbledore at the end goes, well, the good people lost, but let's just make up a bunch of shit and they'll win anyways. Like, hey, you played chess really well, that was 60 points. Hermione, you were kind of creative. 50 points, why not? Harry, well, it's your movie, so what do you have left? You got, we need 50 more points for you to win? 50 more points for you to... Oh, wait, that was just a tie? Oh, wait, kid that got frozen. Neville, you were the one that tried to stop him but suck, right? 10 points for you for sucking. Are you kidding me? You've sort of let on that they're going to face a little more adversity and some things that maybe set them back a little bit, just a little bit. Good, because otherwise kids are just learning that they win all the time. Sorry kids, you're going to lose at some point.
If we weren't doing this little project, would you continue to watch the Harry Potter series? Not
a chance. In all honesty, it just didn't grab me. Like, that movie was not for me. I think some movies are designed for people like me.
Voldemort come back. I mean, Did he strike you as like a threat at all?
No.
Okay.
I'm more worried about that Snape guy. He looks like a skeevy perv like right there. I don't like that guy at all. Star Wars initially as a kid there were 3, and that was it. And 6 is probably as far as I think I would be willing to go. 3 is probably perfect. Indiana Jones, I'm talking to you. But having just 8 of these things just seems like, why?
If you want, there are 4 Twilight movies out right now if you want to watch those.
Rather have shards of glass in my eye.
Nice. Well, that wraps up his segment. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which is movie 1. Harry Potter.
By the way, this guy talks in that accent the whole movie. And sort of the nice segue is you also did that all throughout Zelda.
So here's the thing with me. Like, when I reading, I don't want to sound like an idiot, but reading is just kind of like, okay, like if I'm reading a book, I gotta make it fun for me. I'm not gonna do something if I'm not gonna enjoy it. So to make it more enjoyable, when I read a novel, a work of fiction, everybody has a voice. So I always create voices when I'm reading anything. Zelda, there's an interesting opportunity. There's a lot of text, there's a lot of characters talking on screen, but they're not talking. It's all
it's just all
text.
Yeah, you're all reading.
So yes, everyone has voices.
It was awesome.
The Deku Tree has a pretty good voice.
Alright, so Easy has officially now played through one section of what the Perfect Guy considers the first section of The Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time. I guess from your first experience, we sat down and probably played for about 2.5 hours-ish.
Yep.
Would you say that you would continue playing this game if you weren't doing this?
Not only would I continue to play the game, I, within just this first section, completely understand why this game is so timeless and so very, very popular. I remember when I got the 64, wow, what a drastic change that was for me. So I can see, like, as much as these effects are completely and utterly dated, I mean, it looks like a game from the 90s. It makes sense why this game is so incredible and has stood the test of time. I'm a sucker for a good first-person shooter. So this is taxing a little bit, because I'm really not used to this kind of open gameplay where you technically could just sit around and like walk around and talk to people all day long and never accomplish anything if you didn't want to. But the game makes it so that you want to accomplish things. It's fun to get these things. Like the first time I picked up the sword, there's enough things out there to reward yourself with that you're not just, what's my motivation here, you know what I mean?
Right.
Well, I've only played through this first section and I'm not using the book, but you're there to kind of go, okay, you've done this 600 times now. It's time for me to kind of step in and help you out. But I could see how it would be very difficult. If you weren't there, there would be a lot of things. I would have probably played that game twice as long to get to where I am now because there were a lot of things that I wouldn't have even thought of. I wouldn't have thought to go and freaking play some music for the cows.
There's always an objective in each room, but if you breeze through it too fast and just sort of run around crazy, you don't necessarily... it's harder. So you have to kind of slow down a little bit and evaluate what room you're in. Remember that everything's a puzzle. That's the beauty of it, is it's all puzzle-based.
I have the ocarina. That's awesome. Let me just tell you right now, that the whole music aspect of this game is pretty cool. And as much as I knew what the ocarina was, I didn't fully understand its power. Its full potential. Until being able to play it it's a very cool little thing.
The hard thing about this section, and just to speak to it a little bit, is the meat of the game is really probably going to be sections 3 through the rest of the game. Probably a lot like Harry Potter, where there's setting... Right now, what I feel like I did with Harry Potter, and what you're doing here, is you're learning who everybody is, what you're capable of, and you're sort of setting all the groundwork and all the foundation for what's going to become the major plot line. It's good that you enjoy it now, because it's just going to get better. And so even a lot of the equipping, it does get really meticulous. There are certain specific things, and and you'll see this when we get to the Water Temple, which...
I've heard about that many times
You're going to hate that. With The Legend of Zelda, I've found you've really got to find out the way they want you to do it.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it that way, it's going to be very, very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult not being able to just, as a first-person shooter, you can just go...
I'm turning around, I'm looking...
I can look wherever I want.
Right.
This is a little bit different. So, I'm getting used to it. I think I've still got a little bit ways to go before I can just... I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah. Well, Legend of Zelda, The Ocarina of Time.
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Episode 1 of Experience This. Thank you for watching. We'll be back next time with Episode 2, where you'll watch Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. And I'll be playing Section 2. Whatever that is. Head on over to bestgeekblogever.com. Thank you, Andy, for being with me and taking this journey.